What's up, everybody? Josh and Jay back with the podcast. America is Blue. Uh, Relatively excited to talk about a Carabao Cup clash tomorrow at the Etihad Stadium. Chelsea versus Manchester City. Granted, the League Cup is the probably the least important of the four fronts that we are competing on currently. Nonetheless, it is some silverware. Has importance in the English game. We will indeed talk about it. And as is per usual, Jay, you get the first word around here. Do you have any initial thoughts on the game tomorrow?
Brother Josh, we got to embrace the pain, man. We have to embrace the pain. Enjoy the suck. I think we're going to get throttled. We just got whooped up by the offspring of Pep Guardiola. Same system, high press, just control spacing. They have everything cooking. I mean, dude, they could throw out their B team, the C team. I don't see us coming away with this one. But listen, hopefully the boys show up. Hopefully we get a good effort out of this. And listen, any given Sunday, who knows?
Not looking great for us. Not looking great for us. Any given Wednesday, especially.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but the thing is I hope the meat pies are warm, and I hope that the beer is cold. And I hope all the Chelsea traveling supporters have a great experience. I am also not optimistic, but nonetheless, I will not ever raise the flag. So up the Chels. We do have to keep a little optimism for the boys, sending them into some positive vibes heading into play. But I'll start to head into some of the predictions, but no one precedes a positive outcome. I really think that this is probably going to be a little bit more in the throttling category, and a good lesson learned, something else to take back as we consider our Premier League status. Nonetheless, we're here to talk about it. Do you want to talk about who you think we're going to march out first?
We can start there. Yeah. All right, so I started off, obviously we got Mendy in goal. There's no other choice. So, yeah, and this is funny. When you're going through this, it's like a process of elimination. You kind of want to craft the best team, or you want to see you don't have any choice. It's just like, all right, who do we have left? Like, who's sitting at the end of the bench that we can put into these positions? The good news is, or potentially good news, we did bring up two youngsters. Okay, so they're going to be joining us for this one, Amari Hutchinson and Lewis Hall. I don't think we're going to be starting these boys. Maybe we will. I mean, who the hell knows at this point?
Shout out to Lewis, though. I do like Lewis. I like his ability very much. If there's an opportunity for him to get a little time on the pitch, this would probably be the time to do it. I just don't imagine it's going to be under the greatest of circumstances.
It's impossible to read what's going on here. Like obviously, our game against Newcastle for Premier League, that has far more importance than what we're doing tomorrow.
Indeed.
You don't want to get guys hurt. Everybody's got their eyes set on the World Cup. So, I mean, what do you do if you're a manager who's struggling, trying to find form? I don't know what the hell to do. But listen, I put together a lineup. I think those boys might get some playing time, but I think it'll either be in garbage time or who knows. Listen, if we're close and we need to sub somebody in and they have confidence in one of these guys, listen, at this point, I'm all for it. Anywho, I got Mendy in goal. Back four, only choice we have. Can't do anything about that. I got Aspi, I got Trevor Chalobah, I have Koulibaly, and I have Cucurella. Thiago Silva gets a well-deserved rest.
I mean, he does. And I was really actually hoping that we had a difference in opinion here. But after the not quite frankly very careful consideration, it was the literal consideration of who we have available. I have the exact same back four with Mendy in goal, because in this war of attrition, in this war of attrition, well, that only means that we're only going to get 2 out of the 5 correct when the lineup sheet comes out.
Yes, certainly.
That being said, I'll take the reins and move up in the midfield, because now I'm very interested. Now I want to know. I'm actually going with a midfield base of Zakaria and Carney Chukwuemeka, if he's healthy.
A deuce.
Yes.
Two-man.
Yes.
Two-man. Okay.
Yes.
Well, we're not too far off. This is annoying. I'm going with Mount says he likes to play. He likes to play all the time to stay in rhythm. Okay, so throwing Mason Mount out there. He's going back to the midfield. I'm going with Zakaria, and I am also going with Carney Chukwuemeka. So 3-man midfield.
Okay. If I'm Garrett Southgate, I don't like this decision, but granted, I'm not the manager of the England World Cup squad.
Who cares what Garrett Southgate has to say? That guy's a jerk. Sorry.
Fair
I do
enough.
not like that man.
You ready for this though? And here's the me going for the glory. I'm gonna go with a 3-man attack in support. I'm gonna take the crown jewel first. I am going to put your man Armando Broja up top, of course.
Yep.
Supported by Hakeem Ziyech, Raheem Sterling, and Christian Pulisic underneath him as the number 10.
All right, so we're not too far off. I mean, I got a front three of Pulisic, of course, my man Armando Broja, and Raheem Sterling's got to play against his old mates.
100%. I think Raheem, good, bad, or indifferent, he is going to want to play. Even though it's a cup tie, he's going to want to get out there. So I think it's 100% that he plays. I really do hope that Broja is in there as well. I really want to see him get a run out. I want to see him play at least 75 minutes. Let him get in there. And quite frankly, as a United States men's national team fan, I have some interest in Christian Pulisic getting some minutes heading into the World Cup. I'll take him in the Carabao Cup. I'll take him wherever I can get him.
I was really, really trying to find a place for Ruben Loftus-Cheek in this team, but I just couldn't find a place for him. I'm joking.
I don't think he deserves a place right now, quite frankly.
I was totally joking. Dude, I hope to not see Ruben for a very long time.
And this is not a knock on Ruben personally. It's just, it seems like he hasn't been meeting some of the requisite standards that we expect, as certainly as it pertains to success in the Premier League and in high, European competitions like, I don't know, the Champions League.
Dude, he's been with their team for a very long time.
He's had
so many opportunities under different managers, under different regimes. He's just not up for it. He's got everything you want in the skill set. Like he's a big man. He's fast. He's good with but he just doesn't get it done. He just doesn't. His decision making in crucial moments is piss poor. And even when we've shipped him off and he's played at other places, he's been pedestrian there as well. So, again, I know we're lacking bodies. We have to try to put this together, try to keep guys fresh. I totally understand that. But in a big game, I really don't. I'd rather see Carney Chukwuemeka out there. I'd rather give a guy a chance to see what they've got rather than going back to the well to see the same thing that I know what I'm getting there.
I could not agree more. And, this isn't a knock on Ruben because he's an elegant footballer. He really is. But it feels like he's playing with a royal scepter in hand rather than, trying to get his uniform dirty. And he's last time I checked, midfield was a gritty position of being scrappy and physical and tough and decisive. And, you got to be a little angry in there sometimes. And he just doesn't seem to have those type of traits. The stick-to-itiveness, quite frankly, the anger, the hyper competitiveness that doesn't ooze from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Elegance, sophistication, ease on the ball, sure, but those things do not a champion make necessarily.
I just don't think he's good enough. Just flat out don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's going to be wearing blue for much, much, much longer. And with that, I want to share something with you, which I did not mention earlier. And this just speaks to more, we've been really excited on recent casts. We've had a lot of news about the club, about how Todd Bowley's building out the front office, about what the vision is about the satellite clubs and how we're going to bring in and develop talent. And I am still 100% on board with all of that. I'm excited about where our futures, what that's going to look like. As things stand now, are you familiar with who Simon Phillips is?
Fill me in.
All right. So, Simon, there's very few people in the football journalism realm that I like to pay attention to, mainly because every little dramatic thing, any little whim just gets blown out of proportion, right?
Sure.
Simon Phillips is a fairly dedicated Chelsea writer who tends to keep things fairly straight and narrow. So, this was reported, and it says this is from a top source. A lot of the players are just unsettled at Chelsea. Some are unhappy with life in London and at the club in general. Some want out immediately, which we already know. Some of the older players who've been here a while are frustrated with staff constantly changing. So, change is a common man. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's going to be a painful season. We're going to have to grind this one out. Hopefully, somehow, some way, we'll be able to scrap to top four. I know it doesn't look good, but maintaining Champions League status moving forward as we're trying to rebuild this and as we're trying to recruit top-level talent is kind of essential. So that's like my fingers crossed Hail Mary prayer. But the way we've done business for years now has not been effective, right? As fans, we've been able to enjoy some unbelievable moments, right? So some things that, just jubilant moments that, frankly, a lot of them have come out of nowhere. And that's all great. I think we're looking to build something that's more sustained. But if you think about what's just happened over the last year, man, dude, we had a Russian oligarch owner. I have nothing against Roman Abramovich. But look at the turmoil that was in and around this club with assets being freezed, with players not knowing what the hell was going to be going on.
Not getting paid.
You're not getting paid. We have our Champions League skipper who these guys, I don't know if there was issues in the locker room or what have you. But I think there were a lot of guys. And then you look at a guy like Aubameyang who we brought in who was definitely looking to play with him. And then that goes. So, I mean, it's just a rocky ground that these players are dealing with. And then you get guys going out of position with the new guy, a lot of head scratching things. So there's a lot of reasons to complain about these acute issues short term. The reality of this situation is that it's time to do things a little bit differently, and it's probably time for certain people to move on and to have a bit of an overhaul. Hopefully we can maintain our standing as we're getting there. But I read this and I was like, this speaks volumes to what is going on here and maybe why we're not seeing the product out on the field that we may expect, even though we are not fully loaded.
I mean, that is an interesting, commentary. We are standing on gravel a lot more than we are on concrete right now, for sure. A lot of loose stone down there. Granted, and the injuries are an easy excuse, for the situation, but getting taken over in the midst of the markets, in the midst of COVID and the whole thing, the timing wasn't exactly great, but the transaction is done. Todd Boehly owns the team. I know a lot of people are pointing certain fingers now, but I do agree that in certain ways this may be a little bit of a reset. But to points we've made on earlier casts, we have seen this movie before. It's not as though because you don't finish in the top four that it's a complete death sentence. And I know that a lot of Chelsea fans think that because we feel like it's an entitlement and it's a right. And God bless us for having the ability to think that way. But I mean, even look at Arsenal. Haven't been in Europe. Certainly haven't had much success. Haven't lifted a cup. I've had some Europa League success, but they're sitting, in an interesting position, and that's due to the cohesion and the commitment to the management and the commitment to the team style of play and what they're trying to accomplish over there. And I think right now it's hard to change the wheels on the tires while you're in the middle of running the race. And that's what, Chelsea's trying to do right now. And when you're riding 200 miles an hour, playing on four fronts, in big competitions, and we still advance out of our Champions League group. In the grand scheme of things, Chelsea fans, granted our Premier League status is not where we want it to be, but we don't have a whole lot to complain about.
I mean, you could throw United in that bucket too, right? You're talking about one of the most winningest franchises of all time. This was the epicenter of football was Manchester United, and they've been in the doldrums for forever. So, every once in a while, this thing has to happen. I hope that Ours is quick, and that's why I am excited about the decisions that we're making from an organizational standpoint, because I think that's going to allow us to assess what we have, keep certain key components, move on from things that don't work, and figure this out and piece it together moving forward. So I am very optimistic about our future. I think there's going to be a lot of great times ahead, but we're going to have to just try to figure this thing out this year.
One quick fact about what you just said about United. The last time United won the Premier League, Robin van Persie was on their squad.
Yep.
So just think about that.
Yep. So, listen, this is going to be a little bit of a wrecking ball rebuild, I think, and it's okay. It's okay. It has to happen. So believe
To use
in
my
the
least
system.
favorite
It'll work.
term, to use my least favorite term, it is what it is.
Yep.
That
This is
being
true.
said, we got predictions. We always make them. What do you got tomorrow?
My prediction. So we're going to lose. And I think we are going to lose. I think we're going to lose 3-0.
Oh,
3-0.
okay. 3-0. Keeping a clean sheet for them. I have a similar result. I think it's going to be a 3-1 loss. I think we will get one. I think it'll be Raheem Sterling or perhaps your boy Armando getting a goal, somebody contributing up front. But I see 3-1 to Manchester City.
It's unfortunate, but it's looking that way. It's
It
certainly
is,
looking that way.
but you know what? Whether we're lean or we're sitting pretty, I still love the football club just the same. It's hard to talk about things that are difficult because no one wants to see their clubs falling on hard times. But that's what the Premier League is: bumps and bruises. It's a very difficult place to be unless you got that oil money, and right now we're dealing with some of that American cash. So hopefully, Chelsea can continue to build off of the success of some of the other bully-led organizations and lead us back to the promised land. But if you've got anything else to say, Jay, say your piece now.
I think we got through it, buddy. I think we are
Yeah.
good.
Pray for the living. So everybody, we certainly appreciate the continued support. Thank you for everybody that's listening to us. We appreciate Chelsea Football Club. Up the Chels. Have a great night, everybody. We'll definitely be back with another review of the game tomorrow night, and we'll talk to you then. Have a great night. Thank you.